Last year, my grades were falling, and I was desperate to improve them. I studied hard, and I was a academic machine. I felt guilty ignoring my friends, but grades are more important than friends who care about you, right? Right. Eventually, I went back to my friends. Luckily, they were still willing to play with me. I felt the best I had for days. Now, you might be thinking, oh, Isaac, why should I care? I'm not in school anymore. Well, guess what? 1 in 3 adults in this world have reported themselves lonely. This year, the World Health Organization declared a loneliness epidemic, and it's blamed for 871,000 deaths each year. So today, let's talk about this loneliness epidemic. First, we'll lock ourselves in our room to study this epidemic and why it's a problem. Then we'll reach out to some friends to study the causes of this issue. And then finally, we'll touch grass and step into the world of solution. Because making friends and building relationships might be more beneficial than you think. It might even save lives. The New York Times wrote about loneliness epidemic in 1983, so this epidemic isn't new. However, some believe it's getting worse. So let's look into this problem and how it's different for both adults and children. About 1 in 3 adults globally feel lonely, but the number of kids is even worse. Among Gen Z, it's 73%, nearly 3 in every 4. You may have wondered why this is a big problem. I mean, it doesn't sound that bad, right? But the US Public Service announced this year that loneliness is as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The UK and Japan even have loneliness ministers to address this problem. Therefore, to fix this severe situation, let's look at how we got here. First is academic burnout. Now, you might be thinking again, this can be a big problem. Learning is good. However, the truth is, academic burnout is different because of the reward system in schools, such as getting good grades and achieving top colleges, not to mention making your parents proud. It's almost impossible to have enough time to split for your friends. Secondly, which is also really important, is the loss of community. Because of remote work, online shopping, and minimized face-to-face interactions, there are now 300% more remote jobs than there were in 2020. People thought things will go back to normal after COVID, but it's just not the case. With more remote job, there's no need to go out to eat after work or just during a lunch break. Stop by community events or just play together. Once brought people together, activities are now all forgotten. Well, luckily, like any disease, we have a vaccine to cure this. The first is community building. Many online influencers on the media have provided stories for people to discuss just to reduce the sense of isolation. But it never builds real life relationship with a friend. We recognize in libraries and even speech competitions like this is really beneficial because they help us connect and communicate with other people. However, this is only the first step because loneliness never means being alone. It's a state of feeling unconnected to others. Like I said, many people prefer schools over making friends. So therefore, the real solution isn't changing students, but changing what makes them burn out. Harvard conducted a survey of parents and children in all 50 US states. It shows that 50% of US children said that they're successful in school will make their parents more proud. This is a very severe situation because this kind of mindset leads students to think that academic success is the only thing that matters in life. If you are a parent, do you only compliment your kid when they do well in school? The next time they do something, stop saying, oh, they're so smart, they do so well in school. Try to say, he's so funny, or she's so beautiful. Changing the way you compliment your kid changes the way they think about themselves. If getting into the world's best college isn't the only way to make your parents say, I'm so proud of you, there might be a lot less burnout students. Loneliness is a huge problem and has severely impacted our lives. But now, since I have talked about the problem, causes, solutions, I think we can fight cure this disease. So I feel really happy talking about this with you, but I'm gonna go play and talk with my friends.